let's take a look at lesson 5, where we'll be talking about the distance between points. So what we have here at the top is 2 number lines, and we're going to say the distance between the points on each line. All right, so the first way you can think about this is you can just count. So this is 1, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this number here is actually between the 1 and the 2, so it must be 1.5. So I can't do a full jump, I can only do half of a jump. So I've got 4 full jumps and a half jump, which is 4.5. Another option we have is we could talk about how far away each point is from 0, from the middle, right? And then we can add to get the total distance. So this point over here looks like maybe it's fourths. So we could say 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. So maybe this is -3 and 3/4. Whereas this point over here looks like maybe it's 3/4. So if I were counting, okay, I could say, all right, I've got one big jump of 3 3/4. That's how far it is to get from -3 3/4 to 0. And then to get from 0 to 3/4, that's another 3/4. So what we would need here is the total of 3 3/4 with another 3/4, which it turns out if you were to add all that up, you would get 4.5. Okay? So we actually got the same answer for each of these, and you can kind of see that. If you just like imagine that this was scooched over a little bit, they look like they're completely lined up. So we don't need to write down the process, but those were the 2 options. You can do your small jumps, or you can just talk about the distance away from 0, sort of like when we do absolute value, and then add them up. Okay? So the coordinate plane can be used to determine the distance and the direction between points. What that means is, on the coordinate plane, you can imagine sort of like the number line. It's just a little bit more complicated because you have the up and down and the left and right. You have vertical and horizontal. All right? So that's what we mean by the direction, is the vertical or horizontal. Okay? So for example, A and D, if I were to draw a line between them, that direction is vertical because they're up and down. B and F, if I were to draw a line, is also vertical. C and D, that's going to be horizontal. E and A, that's horizontal. And finally, G and B, also horizontal. Okay, so we can go step by step through these to see how far apart they are. So vertically apart, we've got A on 5, and D looks like, it's in the halfway here. D is at -2.5. So we need to figure out how far apart are 5 and -2.5. So we could say this distance is 5 from A to the axis, A to 0. And then this distance from 0 to -2.5 would be 2.5. So altogether, 7.5. Okay? If you don't like that method, we can try the other one. So for our next point, let's just do C and D since we already labeled it. So here's C, here's D, okay? They are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces apart. So that worked really well there. Okay, we can try for B and F. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this last jump is actually only a half, so 6.5. Okay, let's try our original method again and see how it works for E and A. So how far is A from the axis, from the 0? Well, it's at -9, so that means this is a space of 9. E is on 7.5, so how far is 7.5 from 0? Well, it's 7.5 away. So 9 and 7.5 together would be 16.5. Okay, and then the last one, let's see what we've got. G and B. I'm going to just count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 spaces apart. If you want to see the other method, G is at -3. How far is -3 from the axis, from 0? Well, it's 3 away. B is on 1. How far is 1 from the axis? Well, it's 1 away. 3 plus 1 is 4. So that's the two methods that we have. Continuing with our next example, if 2 points have the same x or the same y coordinate, then they lie on the same line of the coordinate plane. All right? So use the coordinate plane to help answer the questions below. Okay? So let's see what's in common. All right? So we have the point 0, -6, so over 0, down to the -6. And then we have the point 0, so over 0, up to the 9, 0, 9. Okay? Now, what's in common here? Their first value is in common. The first value is the x coordinate. What's the distance? Well, we can count, or we can just do the math. How far apart are 9 and -6? 9 is 9 away from the middle, 0. -6 is 6 away, so that's a total of 15 units. If you'd like to count each little jump, you totally can. Okay, let's use a different color here. 8, -2, so over to the 8, down to the -2. -4, -2 means over to the -4, down to the -2. What do they share? Well, they share the second number, so they share the y coordinate. And how far apart are they? Well, 8 compared to -4, we can say -4 is 4 away. Whoops. 8 is 8 away, so that's a total of 12 units. I'm just comparing to the middle, like when we do absolute value compared to 0. All right. Now, we need a point that is 9 units away from 3, 6, and they have to share the y coordinate. So right away, this has to be 6. All right, so I'm going to plot 3 over 3, 6 up 6. And now I need to go 9 units away, but sharing the y coordinate. So that means I have to stay on this line with the 6. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to put my point right here. So that is -6, 6, which I can just double check. 3 is 3 away from 0. -6 is 6 away from 0. It totally works. Okay? Now we've got -8 and -1. And we need a point that shares the x coordinate, so it's got to share the -8. And it needs to be 6 units away. So -8, -1 is here. And we need 6 units away. So actually we could go up or down, right? As long as we stay on the -8 for x, we have options. I'm just going to go up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that point is -8, 5, which makes sense because 5 is 5 away from 0 and -1 is 1 away from 0. Add that together, we get 6. Okay? And our y coordinate, that's going to be 15 units apart. So anything with the same y coordinate that's 15 units apart. So that's pretty broad. So maybe we can do, let's pick a y coordinate. How about -9? So if -9 is my y value, then I have to be here on -9. They both have to have it. Okay, so how about 10? If I choose 10, and I need to be 15 units away, this is going to be 10 units, so I just need 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5 units away, making a total of 15. And just remember, it's -5. All right, so there we have it. Okay, and lastly, just a quick little example here. We're just going to actually look only at number 4. If you want to do number 5 on your own, you can. So create a rectangle that uses the points below, has a perimeter of 20. That means to add all the sides. And an area of 24 units squared. So area is when you do length times width. Okay? So let me just figure out, first of all, what's this distance? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it's a rectangle, that means my other side's going to be 6 as well, right? But remember, we need the area to be 24. And we basically just need to know what's this side of the rectangle. Well, 6 times what is 24? Has to be 4. All right? So we're just going to make it so that it's 4 tall. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's our point. And now to make it a rectangle, we just fill it in. And it's a rectangle. So here's our point C and our point D. We can double check that it worked. So if we do 4 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6, that is going to work out to be 20. 6 times 4 is 24, so this worked out.